Hi, my name is Candace Darby. I'm a senior at University of Houston downtown, and this is for my senior seminar class. And today we're going to talk about the death penalty argument. In the state of Texas, the state of Texas defines capital punishment as the legally authorized killing of someone as punishment for a crime. So, just to make sure you have some understanding of what the death penalty is. So, the argument about the death penalty is that is it positive or negative, and the effects that it has on society and the inmates. There are strong views about the death penalty and whether or not it should be practiced or life versus the life sentence, and which one, if any, is the correct practice for inmates. Our country has been debating this, and it has been a major controversy for years, and it still continues today. So next, we're going to move on to talk about the history of capital punishment. As far back as 1800s to present day, Europe and the United States both have practiced capital punishment. In the past, the punishments were very harsh and heinous. They would hang, burn, decapitate. Basically, anything was up for grabs as a type of punishment. Of course, as the years went by and as more people saw this, more and more individuals began to fight for the rights of these people, stating that that was improper treatment of people, inhumane, and a person should not be treated like this. So as years went on, some states abolished it completely, while other states continued to practice it, but they practice it in a very less humane type of way. Moving on, we are going to talk about support for the death penalty. Basically, supporters for the death penalty have two very strong arguments. Their arguments are deterrence and retribution. Basically, they believe that capital punishment deters other would-be criminals from committing crimes because they wouldn't want that same type of punishment. On the other hand, retribution is basically the punishment should fit the crime. So basically, an eye for an eye, or the lex talionis, that if you murder someone, then you yourself should die, which is a big controversy, but has strong points. So next, we're going to talk about something that's going to surprise a lot of people, is inmate support for the death penalty. Several inmates actually support the death penalty. When asked, violent and non-violent criminals, they all approved of the death penalty. Now, most of them have grown up in violent areas or have seen and witnessed violence all of their lives, so the death penalty is not a shock to them, and they do not look down upon the criminal justice system for practicing that. In fact, they favor the death penalty. But another one of the main reasons and strong arguments for the criminals is race. Race plays a major role in their support or non-support for capital punishment. Since most of the capital punishments that have been handed out have been to Hispanic and blacks, they're kind of up in the air about their opinion about it, but in general, the whole population of the criminal system, of the criminals, they actually support the death penalty. So moving on, we're going to talk about the negative views about capital punishment. And of course, we know their major argument is that it's inhumane, it's improper treatment, humans should not be treated like this, and that society, for the most part, we don't have the right to make that decision. But they also say that it doesn't deter criminals from committing crimes. Criminals are going to be criminals. They're going to commit crimes regardless. And at the time they're committing crimes, they don't think about the punishment until they're being punished. And it's too late there. So They say that doesn't work. In retribution, they do agree with supporters about retribution, but they also say that what if we kill an innocent person, which has been done? They don't get retribution. Where's their retribution? Where's their family retribution? They won't get to have their loved one back again. So just to make it safer for everyone, just don't practice capital punishment at all. Now, the North versus the South. Basically, in the southern regions of the United States, we support capital punishment. We have more support for capital punishment than any other regions of the United States, and we've had over 80% of most of the capital punishments that have been performed. Northern regions of the United States, actually, several states have abolished it, and a lot of states may still have people on death row, but it might only be a few, and they would actually tell you that they would prefer for them to die of natural causes than to actually die with death penalty. So, the North versus the South. The South wins that one, but that's actually not really a positive thing. So moving on, some alternatives for the death penalty could be that we could let the inmate decide, do they want the death penalty or do they want life in prison? Another big argument in the criminal justice system already is the rights of prisoners and inmates. So this would actually give them a right to choose and take some of the pressure off of the criminal justice system for having to hand out the death penalty sentence. Another alternative is that we can have a policy in place that no one can receive the death penalty unless, without a shadow of doubt, that we have concrete evidence and proof that they did the crime. Now, this policy is already into place, but is not utilized all the time in the criminal justice system. So, if it was mandatory every time, no circumstances could they not do that, then we would know that no innocent person would actually receive the death penalty, which would also make advocates for and against capital punishment happy. So, moving on to the future of the death penalty. Basically, both advocates know that it's going to be here for a while. And that, regardless, that as long as people support it, that states are going to practice it. Some states have already, like I've said, abolished it, while others haven't. And more states may begin to abolish it, but as an entirety from the whole United States, probably not anytime soon. And especially as long as people argue the fact that it's giving some kind of closure or justice to the victims' families, then we'll continue to have the capital punishment. Now, like I stated, as long as we're supporting and practicing it, and a lot of states and people continue to support it, the capital punishment will be here. Now, we might never see that it is abolished entirely in the United States in our lifetime. I plan on having a long life, so maybe I will. Maybe you will too. But it's still very controversial, and it'll continue to be controversial. Like I said, as long as the advocates for and against continue to argue their sides and the criminal justice system continues to practice it. Now, every day and every year, the criminal justice system is improving and coming up with different ideas and new things to try to help this argument. But like I said, once again, as long as it's giving closure to families of the victims, then it's going to be around for a while. So that will be the future, and the final thought on it is that the capital capital punishment will be here for a while, and unfortunately, like I said, we're gonna have support for it. So that's my whole presentation on the death penalty. And like I said, my name is Candace Darby, and thank you for listening.